Okay, welcome. Tonight's kata is Jion. The literal translation of the word Jion is beauty and goodness. Probably the kata when it was invented was not, this was not what they were thinking of, but they think that refers to a Buddhist temple in China with the name Jionji. Okay, so that it has something to do with that, either symbolically or in its origin. Jion is the most basic of the sente kata or the advanced kata. It is very similar in configuration to Heian Shodan. So it's kind of like Heian Shodan, big brother. And in that, it's a very basic kata with only 5 stances. To perform it correctly and make it look good, you yourself have to have very good basics. For this reason, so a lot of the other kata, advanced kata, have all kinds of flashy movements. Take kankusho, for example. All kinds of shifting, jumping in the air. But in that kata, the place that people often fall apart is the very end of it, where they do uchi-uki-e and lunge punch, and another inside block and lunge punch, and they just do basics, just like in Jion. That kind of separates the better ones from the not so good ones. Because Jion is such a basic kata, it is also it is the most common compulsory kata that the examiners will make the people do when they're going for the highest levels of dan or certification. Because they want to see whether they've mastered the basics or not. And the things they're looking for are, yes, keeping the hip level, posture, of course, all those things. Also correct use of the hip. But most importantly is the control with the supporting foot. So there's never any pre-motion. When you move or shift from stance to stance, there's never any kind of pre-motion, but it's so common for students to do something like turn this foot before they step or something. So moving forward in a stance, for example, the front foot stays still, and it only turns when you've passed the center point. Moving back, the heel can't rise even a little. The back foot stays quiet and still, and then it adjusts when you hit the center point, but not before. So this is the kind of thing, when you practice a kata as an advanced student or instructor, you should be practicing these kinds of supporting foot movements. Okay? So that's the most important thing I think about Jion. Okay, let's practice the kata together first. Go through the whole thing once. Medium speed, and then I'll get down to the analysis. 8, Jion! Yoi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 気合い。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、1、2、3、4、5、1、2、気合い。乗れ。 Okay, Jion. Relatively long kata, but basic. First movement. First, Yoi, ready stance. This fist, hand in fist position. Same as Basai Dai. Just, so it's important, don't find a comfortable grip. Instead, make sure your wrists are straight and just lightly put your fingers over the fist. Okay, the important thing is the position of your wrist. It's the same as Basai. If you go like this, but a little bit higher. So your index finger about equal to your upper lip. About here. Make sure elbows are here. First move. Okay. Inside forearm block and down block. The block itself, same as hand sundan. It's important that your hip, like lunge punch, the hip snaps closed. Okay. So in this one, same thing at the end, snap the hip closed. It's also important that you do not let your weight settle back, but rather try to go as much straight down as you can. Obviously, you got to go a little bit back. Bunkai, the meaning, same as hand sandan. It could mean you're blocking a stomach punch and blocking a kick or a punch by itself. It can be used for Murote Suki, 2 punches, possible. It could mean that you're blocking one punch and punching with the other hand, or blocking a punch and punching with the other hand. Okay, so it could be a block punch same time. Okay, next. Kakiwaki uke, Maigiri chudan, and the 3 chudan punches. Kakiwaki uke is exactly the same, the upper body, as hand yondan. Okay. Kakiwaki uke means a wedge block, so maybe somebody's grabbing you. You have to get your forearms fairly close together, cross them, then you pry the opponent's arms apart, but also downward. If this position, by the way, is same as a knife hand block. Same. So it's important, I could get where you can see this, that your wrist is straight, meaning you, like a punch, that your wrist isn't cocked, especially inward this way. If your wrist is straight, it forms a little dent here. And that little dent is what catches, that hooking dent is what catches the opponent's arm and pushes it down and a little bit to the side. If this one, it creates the downward motion. When you do kakiwaki uke, don't come up too much because it has no meaning. All you're doing is getting inside his arms, hooking around, and then applying downward pressure. So people who go like this is too much push. On 4, we are kakiwaki uke, we have a weight back. So we're very much closer to the opponent. In Jion, you must press forward with your back leg, and this is causing the opponent to kind of go backwards, and that's what gives you room to make a chudan front kick. Okay? It's that pushing the opponent backwards feeling. So please have that feeling as you go into this movement. But he's still pretty close to you. So these kicks, like many front kick attacks in advanced kata, are short. Don't set your hip right up here. Just kick punch as fast as you can. Okay. Then the other side is the same mirror image, but important is that you can't come up and then swing around, just like on 4. and swing your arms around. If the opponent's grabbing from over here, you have, if the opponent was you, I have to pull my arms up toward where the opponent's coming from. So wherever the opponent is, that's where you put your arms up. Don't put them up here and then swing over here. So, second kakiwaki uke, and a triple punch. Close, close, okay. I'm sorry. Leg lunge punch, close, relax, close. 3 times, snap the hip. Next sequence. This is not rising block, this is preparation, then rising block. Make sure that this one is this sequence, that these are not reaching out front, but are close in the rising block position. Also, you don't reach and then step. You're always stepping first and reaching at somewhere in the middle of the motion and finishing here. Reaching as you're moving, just like hand shoulder. Reaching as you're moving. Lunge, punch, kiai. Because these are preparatory, this is the in-breath. In, out. In, out. In, out. Out. And you can do those 2 are in quick sequence. You can actually do those in one breath. Pum, pum. Kiai. Next, open your hands and make a Jodan Uchiuke, Geidan Baraya. Then, Kagesuki and Yoriyashi shift. First, in the old days, everybody kept their hands closed on these. Mori Sensei insisted to the end that we keep our hands closed. He didn't like this. But in the JKA, but since the best karate days, JKA has been using open hand on, I think, all of these kinds of motions. Wherever this occurs in any kata, it's always open hand, closed hand. Okay? And they think it's important. I told this story in one of the other seminars. At the Shoto Cup, I was a judge in the ring, and some guy came up. He did a wonderful Jion, and they blew the whistle, and we had a meeting, and he said he didn't do this, he did this. So this poor guy, they penalized him not for doing this. They penalized him a 0.1 for every time he didn't do it. So his score got knocked way down. We had no chance at all, just for this kind of motion. Next, Kagesuki used to be, and in best karate, came from here and went boom, directly to the target. Now they want you to bring it back. So they're feeling like it's not powerful enough if it's dropping. They want to get it on a horizontal plane. So bring it back. But you shouldn't stop. Don't stop. Just let the elbow drop, kind of in an arc that way. One. Another one. Again, any kind of movement like this, we make the in-breath is here, and our hip snaps on the out-breath as we bring the blocks down. Next, Geidan Baraya. But even this move, a lot of people are dogging it. Certainly beginners are going to go 1, 2, feeling. Any kind of movement. In advanced kata, you want to get, so our foot has to travel in an arc. So we got to try to get it to go as fast as it can. And then our hands have to catch up. So this movement is not so much stepping, it's just kind of firing the hip open and left hip bone toward the target. Next, 3 Teisho Yoko Uke. And the second 2 are 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Similar to hand, shutdown timing. First, Teisho, palm heel. You have to practice it to make sure you're doing it all correctly. So the first thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to is they do something like this, where they're actually hitting with this part of the wrist is the most forward part. You have to hit with your hand. If you hit with your wrist, all these arteries in here and what have you, you're going to hurt yourself. So you have to practice with an opponent, maybe heavy bag, makiwara. Practice that this one will hit with this part, not with this part. Okay? As you move forward in this movement, you don't want any shoulder action. As you come to center, in fact, it doesn't even leave your side. Well, it does leave your side, but it doesn't go outside. As you come to center, this one is in. Then you start stepping out, and even at this point, the hip has not begun to commit yet. And then it's the last moment that you twist the hip that causes this inward force. It's the twist of the body from here to here. Okay. And the block, make sure it doesn't, like all hard karate blocks, it doesn't go like this. It goes. It stops. And whatever it's hitting will continue onward. Teisho. Judan. Yoko Uke. This is a block. In that any block can be considered an attack because it's a hard motion. That's not the way you want to think of it. And nobody, never in the old days, best karate series, a lot of people go in straight. Nobody does that. Only the people that have mistaken the technique. Okay, so we are here. After 3 of them, again, this movement, and next, this one is a Murote Uke to Jora. Then the other side, same. Murote Uke, Joran. This is the same kind of augmented block that's in hand 4 and many other kata, hand nidan. Your little finger, it's the only thing that touches the elbow, and your left elbow, in this case my left elbow, is against my ribs. And this one should make a nice box, a right angle, elbow at shoulder height. There is people, if you watch competitors and what have you do this move, everybody's starting a little bit different position. Some people are going kind of like this. Their hands come apart and they end together. Some people are coming from almost level, some people are coming from lower. Sensei Ogura said to start from here. Like almost like hand nidan. Start from that position. I prefer, which is almost the same, I prefer to get the augmented hand in place, or close to in place, as I start the block. And it's almost the same, except this one's not here, it's here, for my method. Understanding that the force of a block is determined by the upper body, by the direction of the elbow. This one, you have to be careful with, because the elbow's rising, but you want the force to be on a horizontal plane. Okay? So watching carefully how all the instructors do this to accomplish this, they don't go directly to here. They actually make an arc so that by mid-movement they're on the level. So they're actually arcing. And you're going to feel, if you practice this on a heavy bag, you can feel the difference between coming up and coming across, coming more across. So you make sure that the end of your movement is on the horizontal plane. If you're rising in any way, well, your weight is rising, and that's harm enough. It makes it difficult enough. But your shoulders have to stay down. And you really have to squeeze your legs together to make power in this movement. If you get it right, you can make it really powerful. And it's pretty stable, at least for the moment of impact. Next. This movement is conducted almost like the beginning of the Jion Kata, just a yoi. Just make a big circle with the arms, take a big in-breath and out-breath. It has no meaning self-defense-wise, so don't focus. Just come to here and stand ready. Where the position of your arms is the same as Jion Barai on both sides. And what you're doing is you're waiting and you're offering your opponent your midsection to do what he will with it. Okay? Then the opponent kicks, and kosa dachi and kosa uke. And make sure that your arm movement is not sluggish and follows your legs. The arms can move faster than the legs. So bring your hands back and do the arms at the very last second. Actually, when this leg plants, that's when the arms come out. Okay? And like any kosa uke, these are held close together, because the meaning, in this case, you are jamming a front kick, but it can also mean punching the front kick. And typically, kosa uke is always performed with the hands close together as its generic form. Okay? Kosa uke, then feeling like two Jion Barai, but this is just pulling. So the meaning is you block the kick, then you grab the gi by the pants leg, and you pull the opponent off balance, pull his leg out. Some people shift back slightly here. It is not necessary. It's okay. It's not necessary. Make sure you get back to your mark. Don't make some fancy slide make you have trouble finding your starting point. Okay, next is this again is hakiwake uke, wedge block, but instead of this way we end this way, and it's executed same as two inside blocks. Meaning is somebody may be grabbing for me at chest, my body, and I get inside and throw his arms out. The common mistake that people make on this one is they do this, at this point everything's focused down and the elbows are stiffened and the shoulders are down. They do this roundabout and come into here. But after focus, transitioning to a new move, you must relax the elbows. So to do inside block, the elbow has to immediately bend. So your elbows cannot go like this. You have to come inside very quickly, relax. This is the in-breath. And then at this point, snap the hip closed. But practice that. Don't go around the block to make this technique. Okay. Next, Jion, kosa uke. Again, snap the hip closed. Next, left hand is suki uke, according to the text, blocking with the fist downward. This one, according to the text, is just a kamae, get ready. And this one is kamae, and this one is uruken to jinshu, upper lip. The text says this is suki uke, meaning doing this to a punch. But I can't find any instance of people teaching that. In Teki, it said this was Geidanuke. So that's when I'm looking at the top instructors teaching, they're suggesting that you're blocking a punch from the front, Geidanuke, and perhaps blocking, sliding inside, and attacking at the same time. This one is supposed to be just Kamae, but both Sensei Osaka and Sensei Ogura said this is a Naiwan Nagashi Uke, which means you're either blocking somebody from the front with this side of your arm, or from the side with your arm in this position. Okay? Or sometimes this position. The old way was this way. Most people are a little closer now. Watching tournament competitors, they're all over the place. Some are curled. Some are here, some are here, some are here, some are here. Just like Teki Shoda. And my only thought is that because this action is so fast that the judges aren't really paying attention to where they were at this point. Interesting to me was that I found a video on YouTube of Sensei Ogura teaching at a camp, and he had Sensei Naka as a model. So Naka was doing the move, and Ogura was fixing him, and everybody was watching. When I was watching the video, I said, oh, maybe I should just tell those people to watch that video instead of mine. But I'm covering more material. I'm probably not covering better. Twice, Sensei Naka turned his hand this way, and Sensei Ogura fixed it to here. Twice. So I got the distinct impression that Sensei Naka turns the hand over. Okay, getting ready for working. Study, try the different ways, keep your ears open, and understand the difference between, the subtle differences between the Tsuki-uke, Geidan-uke, and the different positions of this hand. What I said for Teki was experiment. Experiment with how far you can draw this arm back, because this is okay too. And this is the most common position, even though if they're palm inward. How far can you draw it back where you start to lose speed? Meaning it just takes too damn long to get from here to here. So you have to find that position that makes the most sense, because it's got to be quick. The hip in this sequence, typically, this is closed. When they go like this, the hip will open slightly, but the shoulder is not supposed to go back. Most people come back a little bit, but it's not supposed to come back at all. Then this is just getting ready. Then this one, you close the hip again. Snap the hip closed again. Okay, we're here. Next, Uchi-uke, lunge punch, Uchi-uke, lunge punch. Now, we're into the movements that I talked about in my Jion Shodan seminar, especially this turn from here to here that I said was devilishly difficult to do. And this, I said before, this same sequence is in Kankusho also. Important thing is, a couple important things. You have to stay level. You cannot move. You cannot move your hand first. You can't turn and then block. The turn, the hip turn, is at the very end of the technique. Hip turn at the end of the technique. So the important thing first to practice is that this leg has to shoot to its final position as fast as you can. Okay? Then the hip has not committed. As the leg shooting this arm comes here, Then at the very end, bam, the hip comes to here. It's an open position. Okay? In order to arrest the circular motion of the hip turning toward the target, you have to go this way at the very end to stop the rotation from continuing. And so many people go whoop and they turn their upper body into the block. This is very difficult to perform without being a little bit off balance. But you have to realize that the hip is turning into the movement. I shoot this foot back, the hip's facing this way. I snap the hip to here, and it just went 90 degrees. If you turn early, you didn't do anything, because it's not turning into the movement. This hip turns, and then you're still moving the feet. You can't get that snap from the hip. So I'll keep saying, the hip snaps at the last moment. The hip snaps at the last moment. Hold the hip back, and boom, and go around with it with as much motion as you can at the very end of the technique. Hey, I'm shutdown. I mentioned that going from here to here and making this block was pretty much the same in Jion Shodan, or in normal class when they say Muate. This end part is pretty much the same. If I'm turning, I'm in normal class doing basics, and I turn from here to that direction. My hip is facing this way, bam, and it comes to here. So the last part of it, just a normal turn, is exactly the same as the last part of this very long motion in the opposite direction. Finding the dynamics of these basic movements is going to fix all the movements in the more advanced kata. But if you don't have this down, you're probably not doing anything very well. Okay. From here, again, we have that down block, and quick, get the foot around. Okay. Next, this is called uchi otoshi. It means a falling strike or dropping strike. Okay. You're supposed to bring your knee to center and keep this one back as much as you can. And then elbow up, not stretched, but pretty straight. And then at the last moment, commit the hip. Your forearm is parallel to the floor, but your fist is a little bit ahead of the elbow. It's not perpendicular to what you're hitting. It's a little bit ahead of the elbow. So there's 3 of these. Tempo is 1, 2, 3. Okay? These actions feel just like this if you do a downward elbow strike. Have that same feeling, crashing downward. Yes, you're blocking something, but if you hit somebody's elbow, or even the middle of their forearm, with that block, you can do a hell of a lot of damage, because it has that gravity assist. The fine point for this block, and true of Soto Uke also, outside forearm block, is that the timing of the twist of the wrist is critical to the intended outcome. Now, if you twist the wrist early, this twisting motion at the end, which adds acceleration to the technique, at the very end of it, adds velocity. Because the wrist, whether it's this plane or this plane, the outside of the wrist is turning inward as you're making contact. So that in itself can make impact without much movement here. Okay? So it adds speed to the technique. Now we all know that, if you remember, I think you'll remember, beginners a lot of times, they don't understand outside block. So they go, boom, and they come down with their forearm on their partner's punch. And everybody gets hurt. And they say, no, don't do that. Well, that's the whole thing. If you turn the wrist early, you're just crashing your forearm bone into their arm. Okay? So you got to turn into the strike. Now that you have to practice this, because there are two outcomes that are a little different. If you make contact with the soft part of your arm, whether this way or this way, and make the turn inside the target, you will get greater accelerations because more of the wrist turn is inside the target. But the impact won't be as great. To get the greatest impact, you have to hit with the bone to do the most damage. So to do that, you have to turn the outside of the wrist, of the forearm, at the moment of impact. It adds a speed, but it hits with the bone. Upper black belts intuitively, that when they're not trying to hurt their opponent, are going to do this kind of contact with here. Then it makes almost like this action throws it away. But if you rotate the wrist bone or the forearm bone into the target, you're going to hurt your partner, you're going to hurt the opponent. In combat, that's what you want to do. You want to really put some damage to it. You have to practice that yourself. There's a very fine difference in timing between those movements. Okay, we're here. We turn. Left hand on the right armpit. Right hand is thumb downward. Slowly go to here. Okay. Next, look to the other side. Right hand under left armpit, thumb downward, and kiai. The faster shifting motion. This move has evolved over the ages. Mori Sensei used to do this, well, first, what we're doing is, in the old days, a lot of people would come over the top and pull back. But if somebody's punching you, the punch is coming into your face, like this, you go over the top and start pulling toward yourself. You're pulling it right into you. So it isn't very safe. And if you were thinking you were going to divert it, the only thing you have to divert it with is your thumb. If your hand's in this position. It's very different from Teki Nidan, because this motion means that you're grabbing their wrist or the bow and you're pushing it down. Their fist isn't here. It's out there somewhere, you're grabbing it. So what doing it correctly, with the thumb down, you're diverting the fist off your center plane and then pulling it. And this one is punched to Chuda. Mori Sensei had the same idea, just a little different approach. He came to the inside with an inside knife hand block and then grabbed and pulled. So he was diverting and pulling. But just reaching your hand out and pulling, you haven't diverted the attack, so it doesn't make any sense. Or it's not safe. You're grabbing, blocking, pulling, all at the same time. But the important thing is you got to divert. If you don't get your grip, at least you diverted the punch. You diverted it off your face. Okay? And because we're pulling high up here, that makes the opponent go like this, and his ribs are open. So that's why you're hitting Chuda. If your thumb is down when you start to pull, you're automatically going to pull it off line. So just this position, if there's an arm in that hand, when you pull, the back of your hand is keeping the punch from going inside to where your face is. back of your hand is keeping it away from your face. You don't really have to, the natural motion diverts the attack. Like, just remember this, thumb down. I know I missed some stuff. For example, one comes to mind, this action can mean this blocking with the facial. This can mean that you are blocking the bow, and that the succeeding motion, you come around, and this action means you can push, use the bow as a lever, and if somebody's on the other end, they'll go flying. So you're blocking the bow, and coming around, and take it away from the opponent. That's another application for that. In best karate, they did this one, and then they did this, and they kept this arm here. They didn't move it, and then they punched from there. In the old days, they came back. In the new days, you're supposed to come back. So I think that was one of those, everybody's doing it different, we got to pick something. Let's ask Sensei Funakoshi. That's the final arbiter. That's my read on that. Okay. Again, work on your basics. That's the key to Jion. If you think Jion's a boring kata, you're missing the point. Because it's important that, and even here on shutdown, if you want to make your technique better for the future and for more advanced kata, you've got to be able to do these basic motions correctly. And you've got to keep studying them, because there's no such thing as I got this now. We'll always just keep doing better and better.